there coming in from the National War Memorial in the national capital, where Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is paying homage to the martyrs of the 1971 war. Remember, India is commemorating, the nation is commemorating the country's triumph over Pakistan in the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War by observing the Vijay Diwas. The visuals there coming in of salute and homage being paid to the martyrs of the 1971 war. Army veterans, the armed forces, the politicians, the government. In fact, the president also earlier this morning took to social media to pay, in fact, expressed and paid homage to the martyrs of the 1971 war. We have Major Gaurav Arya joining us. Major Gaurav Arya, good morning. If you can tell our viewers more about the significance of Vijay Diwas for the country.
First of all, I'd like to wish all our countrymen a very, very happy Vijay Diwas. It was today in the afternoon that General A.A.K. Niazi surrendered to Lieutenant General Jaishankar Arora, GOC Eastern Command of the Indian Army, along with 93,000 prisoners of war who were kept in India for at least 2.5 years to 3 years. And such a military victory has not been seen in modern times, in modern warfare, where in the space of 13 days, a new country was created and the geography of Asia was changed. So I think it's a fantastic day for all Indians to celebrate together, because we have not had an hour as fine as 16th of December. But this will stand out in history as a red letter day. The jointness, the josh, the jazba, the planning and the execution of warfare was top-notch. It was world-class, and Pakistan was brought down to its knees.
Well, absolutely. And also, Major Gaurav Arya, talk to us about how important this day is for Bangladesh as well.
No, absolutely. And, while we often say that our Army, Navy and Air Force did a very fine job that they did, but none of it would have been possible without the Mukti Vahini. And it was the Mukti Vahini and the Mukti Jodhas who were there at the forefront, fighting shoulder to shoulder along with the Indian Army. And they did a fantastic job, and I think I don't have any words to express the bravery, the dedication and the sense of sacrifice of the Mukti Vahini and the Mukti Jodha. And today is also Bangladesh's day of independence, day of creation, and many Bengalis and Bangladeshis feel that it is actually the day they became independent from Pakistan, and a very great day for both Bangladesh and India today. I also congratulate and my best wishes to the people of Bangladesh.
Absolutely. And also the fact that, the 1971 war, it altered relations between India and Pakistan. It was in many ways a turning point as well for India and Pakistan when we talk about their relationship.
No, absolutely. Because that is when we cleaved Pakistan into two. We cleaved Pakistan into two. We broke Pakistan into two. And yes, Pakistan has always suffered from that complex, that our country was divided into two by India. But it wasn't India who did that. It was Pakistan's own sins. The fact that 3 million East Pakistanis at that time, Bengalis, were killed, 1 million women were raped. That was the genesis of the Mukti Vahini. We may have given Mukti Vahini training. We may have given them weapons. But the desire to fire that weapon, the finger on the trigger was Mukti Vahini. That was the Bengali finger. So, we gave them arms and ammunition, but we did not give them courage. Courage they were carrying, in their hearts. And it's a very big day for Bangladesh and for India. And yes, the situation with Pakistan, deteriorated after that. But I think Pakistan deserved it. They've been attacking us in 47, 48, and 1965. In 1971, again they attacked us. So they deserved what they got.
Yes, and talk to us more about the sacrifice of our Jawans, and also it was their heroic act and the determination and grit with which they fought the what which led us to victory in the 1971 war.
No, absolutely. You see, the entire jazba of the Indian soldier, the spirit of the Indian soldier, you can give him arms and ammunition, you can give him the latest technology, but they tell us in the army that it is always the man behind the weapon and the equipment that matters. It is the man who is supreme. You train the man. and you train the man. And this soldier of the Indian Army, he fights with satellites. He uses GPS. He uses artificial intelligence. But as you saw in the video, which has been viral for the past couple of days, he can also fight with sticks and stones.
Yes.
So right from the satellites, to rockets, to space-based technology, blockchain, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, that is being used. But when the time comes, he can get down to bare fisticuffs also. This is the range of the capability of the Indian Jawan, which we can never underestimate. I would like to give you a small example with your permission.
Yes, please,
yes. I spoke about satellites, I spoke about GPS systems. But in the Indian Army, even today they teach you how to use the compass, and if you do not have the compass, you can look at the sky and use the stars as navigation, so you never get lost. So the entire spectrum of capability is there with the Indian Jawan. If he gets lost in the jungle, he can look at the sky, look at the stars, and find his way home. That is how we train our soldiers, and this is exactly the taste of our medicine that Pakistan got in 1971.
Yes, Major Gaurav, stay with us. We have Major General S.P. Sinha also. Sir, wishing you a very happy Vijay Diwas. If you would want to express your thoughts on the day as the country celebrates the Vijay Diwas today.
You see, it's a very memorable day, and we scored a thumping victory over Pakistan. Pakistan had never thought that Indian Army will be able to capture East Pakistan within 14 days. It was a 14 days war. And you see that a lot of credit goes to, at that time, Army Chief General Manekshaw, GOC 4 Corps General Sagat Singh, and Chief of Staff, Eastern Command, General Jacob. Everything was planned in a mind with total secrecy and in minutest detail. And when Indira Gandhi wanted, she told Sam Manekshaw that we want to attack, say, sometimes in April, May. And Manekshaw very rightly said, man, your profession is politics, my profession is fighting. Let me do the fighting in my own way. Give me some time to completely coordinate everything. And it is going to be rainy season in, say, May, June and July. So that would be a very bad time to attack. So you give me, let me choose the time and I assure you of victory. Luckily, Indira Gandhi agreed and we scored a thumping victory. But most remarkable thing is that we captured 93,000 prisoners, POWs, in Bangladesh. And General Jacob very intelligently orchestrated and put so much of psychological pressure on Niazi that he had no choice but to surrender. And he gave a very stern message to General Niazi that if you don't surrender, you are left with only 2 days of mission. And the 2 days of mission, after that you will have nothing to fire. Your guns are going to be empty. And there in that scenario, we will capture you and we will hand over all the 93,000 soldiers to Bangladeshis who will tear you into pieces. Because the way you have established rape camps in Bangladesh and raped Bangladeshi women, they are not going to leave you. So you decide, you want to surrender or we should hand over all the soldiers to Bangladeshis. And Niazi had no choice. He knew the writing on the wall. He said, if you surrender, I guarantee you that we will give a guarantee about the security of your troops. Nobody will harm. So he had no choice. He surrendered. And you see, so battle is fought at different levels. Indira Gandhi also very intelligently solicited and got the support of Russia. And when America had sent its warship in Bay of Bengal, Russia was able to thwart that attempt. So you see, the battle is won at different levels: diplomatic level, political level, army level, and psychological warfare level. So all these factors combined, they're responsible for giving us a great victory. And it is a history. After Second World War, in no battle anybody has surrendered 93,000 prisoners. And but I'm amazed the way history is taught in Pakistan. They are all bundle of lies. They say they won 65 war. And when General Bajwa, Chief of Army Staff, says that the number of troops that surrendered was only 30,000 or 40,000.
Yes.
I think the mockery of that system, I tell you, they are the shameless people. They believe in LDD, lie, deceit and deception. Total lies they've spread. So I think it's okay. We have no problem. The Pakistan is actually sinking. But we should also be careful to ensure that any misadventure planning by Army Chief of Pakistan, we should go whole hog and this time.
That's right, Major General S.P. Sinha, yes. Yes, we'll have to leave it at that, but thank you for speaking to us. So, Major General S.P. Sinha also hailing the sacrifice of a soldiers in that 1971 war in which India emerged victorious against Pakistan.
Security forces have busted a Pakistani plot of using the narcotics to destabilize Jammu and Kashmir and also to use this against the school-going children. We'll be staying on this story right after this short break.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
एक दिन मैं सोते सोते गिर गया और मुझे कुछ नहीं हुआ। पता है किसने किया? घोस्ट ने। मेरा दोस्त है, वो हर बार मुझे बचा लेता है। घोस्ट को कैसे पता मैं अंधेरे से डरता हूँ? घोस्ट मेरा दोस्त है। मिलोगे?
अरे कोई घोस्ट नहीं, रोनी के पापा ही हैं जो उसे सेफ रखते हैं। जैसे हैवेल्स लाइफ शील्ड वायर्स जो दिखते नहीं पर घर को सेफ रखते हैं। ना आग पकड़े ना जहरीली गैस छोड़े। वायर्स दैट डोंट कैच फायर।
देखें कौन नया खिलाड़ी आया है। समझा देते हैं, प्यार से समझाएंगे। ये तो अपनी जुबान है।
जुबान एक हो तो दिल भी एक होने चाहिए। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अगर तू हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस नहीं लेगा तो हॉस्पिटल का लंबा बिल तू अपनी जेब से भरेगा। 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू। पॉलिसी बाजार।
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to ₹30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amritkal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharati Diwas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
ये है गेहूं। जब इसमें जुड़ता है रागी, जवार, बाजरा और मेथी तो बनता है हेल्दी मन्ना मल्टी मिलेट आटा। ये है बेहतर आटा।
क्या हुआ रोहन, क्या सोच रहा है?
रिया पहली सैलरी मिली है, तुम भी कुछ आइडिया दो। एक्सपेंसेस को कैसे प्लान किया जाए?
रोहन, एक्सपेंसेस के साथ साथ इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान करना भी जरूरी है।
देखो, सैलरी का कुछ हिस्सा घर के रेगुलर खर्चे के लिए और कुछ मैं अपने लिए भी तो सोच सकता हूँ ना, लेकिन इन्वेस्ट कहाँ करूँ?
सिंपल है, एनपीएस में।
एनपीएस में? रिया अभी तो मैंने कमाना शुरू किया है, इतना आगे के लिए अभी से क्यों पैसे जोड़ूं?
वो देखो, एक एक करके ईंट जोड़ी जाती है, तब जाके एक घर तैयार होता है। वैसे ही अभी से पैसे जोड़कर हम भी अपना रिटायरमेंट सुखी बना सकते हैं।
बात में तो दम है।
एनपीएस कम लागत वाली फ्लेक्सिबल लॉन्ग टर्म योजना है जिससे आपकी बचत ग्रो होकर पेंशन का लाभ देती है।
अच्छा, फिर तो मैं अभी अपना एनपीएस अकाउंट ओपन करता हूँ।
जो कल की सोचते हैं वो आज से ही थोड़ा थोड़ा जोड़ते हैं।
पेंशन है तो टेंशन नहीं। एनपीएस में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है।
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
Coming in from J&K's Pooch, where a narco-terror module was busted. In fact, what we're given to understand is that it was being operated by a class 10 student in a village. We have Gursimran joining us for more details. Gursimran, that's a minor, in fact, who was operating at the behest of Pakistan when we talk about this narco-terror module in J&K.
Yes, Samiksha, and this is really concerning for the security agencies. Jammu and Kashmir Police, along with the BSF, has busted this module that was being operated by the ISI handler Ashik, and he was himself coming from Pakistan to deliver the consignment of narcotics to this minor student who is in class 10th in a local government school. Since her home is ahead of the LC, that Pakistani handler Ashik used to come to her home to deliver the consignment of the narcotics. 400 grams of heroin has been recovered, and another set of the consignment has also been located by the Jammu and Kashmir Police. This is really concerning because now the ISI wants to target the school-going children of the Jammu and Kashmir and wants them to be into the narcotics so that the future of Jammu and Kashmir can be spoiled. Samiksha.
That's absolutely correct, Gursimran, that Pakistan using children to supply narco substances to school-going children. So children being used by the Pak for the narco-terror in JNK. We'll slip into a very short break, but news break and stories to continue on the other side of the break. External Affairs Minister shows Pakistan the mirror in the most classic manner as Jaishankar gives it back to Pak journalist.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
भाई सोच रहा हूँ कमेंट्री ट्राई करूँ। सुनोगे? मैच का आखिरी बॉल कैप्टन ने टाइट फील्ड सेटिंग करी है। बॉलर का रन अप, तेज तूफानी डिलीवरी पर आउटसाइड की ओर एक धमाकेदार शॉट और ये गया छक्का।
छक्का नहीं, टूटा। आपके टाइल्स को चाहिए MY के लेटिक्री टाइल एडेसिव। फॉर्मूला ऐसा कि अब टाइल न टूटेगा न छूटेगा।
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amrit Kaal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharti Diwas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
This picnic was a great idea.
Thank you.
Candlelight dinner of sandwiches.
पर ब्रेड बटर तो लिए नहीं, आज सेल डे नहीं है ना?
What? ब्रेड बटर खरीदने के लिए forget that Thursday sale. Big basket है, हर दिन सस्ता. Big savings, big baskets.
Dumbest idea ever.
India's biggest fashion sale is back. Rock that print, binge that dress, show you my fashion flex. EORS.
Fashion's biggest sale.
Fashion's biggest sale is now live.
इससे बड़ा सेल नहीं मिलेगा।
Myntra end of reason sale. Shop now.
मेरी नजरों से चुना, तेरी हरकतों से सुना। कभी जीती तू, कभी मैं हारा। फिर भी खूबसूरत है ये नजारा, क्योंकि इसमें है खुला
कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा।
अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा।
या तो पास्ट को पकड़ के बैठे रहो या फ्यूचर देखो।
Good luck.
लक वो तो खुद बनानी पड़ती है।
उठो, जागो, दौड़ो तुम, डायबिटीज को रोको तुम।
Get Beto's Diabetes Care Program with a free glucometer and expert advice. Give a missed call on 740 1100.
Whenever I had ice cream or cold water, I would experience a sharp shooting sensation. So I just kept ignoring it. Even my hot chai was giving me the same amount of discomfort. My dentist recommended Sensodyne. So now I can be completely carefree and sip my hot cup of tea. It really works.
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
Powered by Century Ply, आग से बचाए. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India Limited, smarter steels, brighter futures.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
असली विलन तो तू है अपनी फैमिली का हीरो बनो यार। 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू फ्रॉम पॉलिसी बाजार।
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
You know it's only a drill, and yet you train like it is the real thing. Because one day, at a second's notice, it will be. One day, you'll come together as an invincible team, and every second you save will be a life saved. The Indian Air Force is looking for an exceptional team. A team that is truly a cut above.
Join the Indian Air Force to be a cut above.
कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा.
इसलिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, सपने आपके, लैमिनेट्स हमारा. अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा.
टाइम पे खा लेना. और कल सुबह अपॉइंटमेंट है, भूलना मत.
अरे 2 दिन के लिए तो जा रहे हो.
हाँ, लेकिन ख्याल तो पूरी जिंदगी रखूंगा ना.
HDFC लाइफ एन्युटी प्लान्स के जॉइंट लाइफ फीचर के साथ रखिए अपनों का ख्याल हमेशा. HDFC लाइफ, सर उठा के जियो.
Everyone looks at the world today. At Hyundai, we go beyond with experiences that take us forward. Inspired by our today, we design your tomorrow. Some said electric is the future. We said, why stop there? At Hyundai, we are going beyond mobility, and you are welcome to join us.
It's party time with the RGO Big Bowl sale. 50 to 90% off on the world's biggest fashion brands. Download the app and shop now.
Volkswagen Tiguan, India's safest SUVW.
Volkswagen.
Your favorite service provider, Den, which gets you the best of entertainment, is back with something very special.
अभी मजा आएगा ना भिड़ो.
Your 3 favorite movie channels are bringing in super blockbuster films with features like wider picture and crystal clear sound straight to your home.
Wow. Oh, I love that expression.
To subscribe to your favorite channels, contact your local cable TV operator today or call Den toll-free number 1-800-419-2020 now.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
It was in 1971 that the Pakistani armed forces felt the sting of the Scorpion. 340 Brigade marched relentlessly deep inside East Pakistan. They took the surrender of an entire Pakistani division of force, and Pakistani defenses fell one after the other. This is history replaying its part. And we are gathered here together to celebrate the spirit of Vijay Diwas, the day we won that iconic victory and Pakistan surrendered on 16th of December 1971.
Good morning and thank you very much for staying with us on Republic TV. This is live and breaking. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. We begin with a look at the headlines we are tracking here at 10 o'clock this morning. Mega Vijay Diwas celebrations are lined up as India commemorates victory over Pakistan during the 1971 war.
You're asking the wrong minister when you say how long will we do this.
because it is the ministers of Pakistan who will tell you how long Pakistan intends to practice terrorism.
The External Affairs Minister shows Pakistan the mirror in the most classic manner as S. Jaishankar gives it back. Tamil Nadu police stop auction of stolen Nataraja bronze idol in France, attempts on to bring it back. Lowest of lows for China as it targets patients. AIM cyber attack leads to heavy backlog. The Bihar Hooch tragedy death toll rises to 50, but the Chief Minister Nitish Kumar mocks victims. Well, the Congress MP Randeep Singh Surjewala has given a suspension of business notice under Rule 267 in the Rajya Sabha to discuss the border situation with China, also asking the chairman to ask the Prime Minister and the government to make a statement on the issue. Earlier, the Congress MP Manish Tiwari had given an adjournment motion notice in the Lok Sabha to discuss the border situation with China. Do remember that the opposition has been cornering the government over this issue in both houses of parliament. Yesterday also we saw several disruptions with the opposition essentially asking for a debate on what happened in Tawang in the 9th of December, where there was contact between the two sides, that is the PLA troops as well as the Indian soldiers at peak over there. Let's go across to Piyush Ori, who's reporting on this. He joins us live from New Delhi right now. Piyush, good morning. Piyush, the opposition, of course, extremely keen that the government allow for a discussion to take place on this issue in both houses of parliament. We're now getting to understand that another Congress leader has issued an adjournment motion.
So good morning, Nupur, and to you, good morning to all our viewers who are watching us at the moment. And you rightly said that, yes, the Congress leaders are trying to make sure that this attack by China on us and the way we defended our territory is being politicized. After Manish Tiwari, now it is the time for Randeep Singh Surjewala to ask the government to make a statement on this. In fact, Randeep Singh Surjewala has also asked the Prime Minister to make a statement on this provocation by China on 9th of December, which was defended very well by the Indian Army. Now, what it is doing in return is Congress is that it does not realize that how sensitive and national security issue this actual matter is. It is important to note that following the news, the statement have already been made by the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh in both houses of the parliament, but the Congress leaders are making sure that this gets more mileage, this gets more coverage, and they are forcing the government to have a debate on this. They are forcing the government to make more statements on this. In fact, Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, has also stated that the government is not divulging many details to its leaders about this provocation by China. So it is now going to be important to see that how this politicization of the entire events is going to unfold in the coming days. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Piyush, do stay with us. Let's also go across to Gursimran, who's reporting from Tawang right now. Gursimran, good morning. Gursimran, of course, two things. One, we are given to understand that the Air Force's exercise is still continuing. It is day 2 of that exercise in the Eastern Theatre. So begin by giving us an overview about that, and also across the LAC we understand that our troops are still on alert.
Yes, the troops on the ground are on the alert. Right now we are in the Tawang sector, and I'll request Vijay Parvez to zoom into the heights that the Indian side is occupying. See, these are one of those heights that the Indian side is occupying against the Chinese side, and that is somewhat has rattled the Chinese side, because what the China feels that if they would have access to these heights, they will have a clear overview of the Arunachal Pradesh, and half of Arunachal Pradesh overview can be looked from these heights that the Indian side is occupying. occupying. And China, with his nefarious policy, the expansionist policy, they were always in a bid to grab the land of the other country. But in case of India, they have totally failed. Now the statement has to come from the Eastern Army Commander, Lieutenant General Rana Pratap Kalita, in which he has made it amply clear, no questions beyond this, that there is no acquisition of the Indian land by the Chinese side in the Arunachal Pradesh. So this is coming from the senior most officer who is looking into the army operations in the Arunachal Pradesh and the eastern sector of the Indian Army, the Eastern Command of the Indian Army. So this is really very crucial, this statement that has come forth, though the political parties are trying to politicize the issue, but the reality remains that India has given Chinese side a tough payback when the Chinese came into the Indian side with an attempt to occupy the Yankee Heights, the Yankee post of the Indian Army at the height of 17,000 feet, because having occupied the Yankee, the Chinese side feels that they will have advantage over the India, and that is very true, because the Yankee height that the India has been occupied, there have been almost a dozen attempts by the Chinese side in past 1 decade, where the Chinese were always in a bid to occupy that height, because that is at the 17,000 feet, and that gives India a clear-cut vision that how the China is moving and how the strategy of the China is taking place. Any advancement of the Chinese side can be noticed from those heights. So this is strategically very important, and China wants to take that strategic depth, but they have been left with no option than to retreat from that place when the Indian side give them a befitting reply.
Absolutely, Gursimran. So as you're pointing out, this is the Yangtze Heights give either side a bird's eye view of what's happening in the other country. For the moment, Piyush Ori as well as Gursimran, thank you both very much for joining us. We'll come back to the two of you through the day. Now moving on, during an interaction at the United Nations headquarters in New York, the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar shot down a Pakistani reporter's question on terrorism when asked how long will South Asia see terrorism from New Delhi, Kabul, Pakistan, and how long will they be at war. Jaishankar hit out saying, "You're asking the wrong minister. It is the Minister of Pakistan who will tell you how long Pakistan intends to practice terrorism."
Asking the wrong minister when you say how long will we do this, because it is the ministers of Pakistan who will tell you how long Pakistan intends to practice terrorism. So look, you know, at the end of the day, the world is not stupid, the world is not forgetful, and the world does, you know, increasingly call out countries and organizations and people who indulge in terrorism. And by taking that debate elsewhere, you're not going to hide it. You're not going to confuse anybody anymore. People have figured it out. So my advice is, please clean up your act. Please try to be a good neighbor. Please try and contribute to what the rest of the world is trying to do today, which is economic growth, progress, development.
And this is not all. Launching a scathing attack, Jaishankar also said that the world isn't stupid. It's increasingly calling out countries and organizations, including indulging in terrorism, and his advice is to clean up their act.
I read the reports on what Minister Hina Rabani Khar said, and you know, I was reminded more than a decade ago, if my memory serves me right, Hillary Clinton was visiting Pakistan, Islamabad. And Hina Rabani Khar was a minister at that time. And I think standing next to her, Hillary Clinton actually said that if you have, I'm giving you the sense, it's not an exact quote, that if you have snakes in your backyard, you can't expect them to bite only your neighbors. Eventually, they will bite the people who keep them in the backyard. But as you know, Pakistan is not great on taking good advice. And you see what's happening there. In terms of what they are saying, look, the truth is everybody, the world today sees them as the epicenter of terrorism.
And here's a look at what else is making news this morning. Nepal and India are all set to conduct the 16th edition of Surya Kiran, a joint military training exercise between the two South Asian nations. According to the Ministry of Defence, the 16th edition of the Indo-Nepal joint training exercise will be conducted at the Nepal Army Battle School in Saljahandi from today, that's the 16th of December, to the 29th of December. The Kerala government has informed the Kerala High Court that it will consider introducing the Kerala Prevention and Eradication of Inhuman, Evil Practices, Sorcery and Black Magic Bill in the next session of the Assembly. India has declared its candidature for non-permanent membership of the UN Security Council for the term of 28-29. India had assumed the monthly rotating presidency of the Security Council on the 1st of December. This is the second time that India is presiding over the Council during its two-year tenure as an elected UNSC member. A 50-year-old woman was allegedly hacked to death in broad daylight by her live-in partner in Vadayala. According to police officials, the woman suffered critical injuries and was rushed to a government hospital by the police, but her life could not be saved. India successfully tested the Agni-5 missile capable of striking targets at ranges of up to 5,000 kilometers with a very high degree of accuracy. The test was carried out to validate new technologies and equipment on the missile, which is now lighter than before. The trial has proved the capability to enhance the range of the Agni-5 missile. The Delhi High Court is to hear a bail plea that's been filed by a student leader activist Gulfisha Fatima in the 2020 Delhi violence case. Fatima had challenged the trial court's order that denied her bail in the case related to the alleged larger conspiracy behind the Delhi 2022 violence. Fatima was arrested in February in connection with the violence in northeast Delhi. The Delhi High Court is also to hear the bail plea filed by JNU alumnus Sharjeel Imam in a case related to the 2020 Delhi riots. Imam had been booked under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act in connection with riots in northeast Delhi. In these riots, 53 people had died and more than 700 people were injured. A UP court has framed charges against the Union Minister Ajay Mishra Teni's son Ashish Mishra and 13 others in the Lakhimpur Kheri violence case in which 2 farmers were killed. Officials have said that the case hearing will take place today. Well, the death toll in Bihar's Chhapra due to the consumption of spurious liquor has now risen to 50. This even as action has been taken against at least 2 police officials. One of them, of course, has been suspended in this particular case. But apart from that, of course, politics is continuing to rage on in Bihar with the opposition parties essentially targeting Nitish Kumar's government over the prohibition. So as we're pointing out, of course, reactions coming in to the Hooch tragedy. There is a political slugfest of sorts that's on right now with a large number of political parties targeting Nitish Kumar's Mahagathbandhan.
ये दोषी कौन है? कौन मरे? 60 आदमी अभी 1 महीना पहले मरे थे कि नहीं? उत्तर प्रदेश में मरे थे कि नहीं? और जब कानून बन रहा था तब उस पर यूपी बीजेपी वाले सपोर्ट किए थे कि नहीं? कि नहीं किए थे? अच्छा, उसके पहले 3 महीना पहले बनियापुर से लेकर के पारस परसा से लेकर मकेर से लेकर के मरोड़ा से लेकर के 15 आदमी 20 आदमी मरे थे कि नहीं? हम जानना चाहते हैं 20 आदमी 15 आदमी 25 आदमी तो उस पर बीजेपी थी कि नहीं? अब बीजेपी के लोग दारू में पकड़ा है कि नहीं? बीजेपी बनाने वाले दारू में पकड़ा है कि नहीं? हम जानना चाहते हैं। और आज आप राजनीति कर रहे हैं, 50-60 मौत पर राजनीति कर रहे हैं। मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूं कि क्या कारण है कि आप मौत पर सवाल नहीं खड़ा कर रहे हैं, आप ऐसी चीजों पर सवाल नहीं खड़ा कर रहे हैं। इसमें खाली गाली गलौज से क्या होगा? नीतीश कुमार का प्रयास को आप क्या गलत कहेंगे क्या?
नहीं, प्रयास तो बहुत बेहतर है।
ठीक है, प्रयास बेहतर है। समय समय पर कानून में संशोधन की जरूरत है, करने की जरूरत है। गांव में जो शराब धड़ल्ले चल रही थी उसमें कमी आई, लेकिन यूथ के हाथ में ड्रग्स और कोरैक्स एसमैक्स व्हाइटनर ज्यादा चला गया। और
यहाँ के लोग कह रहे हैं कि ऑनलाइन सर मंगाएंगे, ऑनलाइन आ जाएगी, हॉस्पिटल के अंदर आ जाएगी।
सर कहाँ जी, ये बात सही कहा?
बिल्कुल, ये कह रहे हैं अभी।
बिल्कुल सही कह रहा है।
तो सर अगर ये बात है,
सर बिल्कुल सही कह रहा है।
कहाँ है फिर?
सर मेरा सवाल आपको एक बात मैं बता रहा हूँ। सर शराबबंदी ना सत्ता पक्ष चाहती ना विपक्ष, और शराबबंदी के वक्त बीजेपी थी ना,
जी बिल्कुल थी,
ठीक है, सभी लोग एक थे ना, तो अब सर्वदलीय बैठक करिए ना।
बिल्कुल, जो आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा इसका जवाब मैंने पहले ही दे दिया था, शायद आपने ले ही लिया। अब जहां तक सवाल है, मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया कि जिस भी पुलिस पदाधिकारी कर्मी की संलिप्तता आती है उस पर कार्रवाई होती है, वो जेल भी जाते हैं अगर उसकी संलिप्तता आती है, अगर उसकी विफलता आती है तो उस पर विभागीय कार्रवाई की जाती है और जो नियम संगत कार्रवाई है वो होती है। साथ ही साथ इसी का साक्ष्य है कि हम लोगों ने किस प्रकार की कार्रवाई की है और आपने उसको देखा कि हम लोगों ने कितनी बड़ी मात्रा में शराब की जब्ती की है, कितने लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया है। अगर हम ये जब्ती नहीं करते तो ये शराब भी उसी समाज में जाता और कितने लोगों के साथ और घटना
कैसे हो जाएगा? पहले से शराब बिकती थी, सबको पता है किस दुकान में शराब मिल जाए, पुलिस कैसे अनभिज्ञ है?
नहीं, अनभिज्ञ कहाँ है पुलिस? आप देखिए, अगर इसी महीना में आज
जो आंकड़े आपके हैं जो आप बता रहे हैं,
नहीं बिल्कुल,
लेकिन अगर ये शराब जहाँ पी रहे थे सिर्फ एक जगह से नहीं थी, कई जगह से, उनके बारे में पता नहीं।
आपको मैं बता रहा हूँ, अगर मैं तो जो कार्रवाई कर रहा हूँ उसी के बारे में बता सकता हूँ। बहुत सारे प्रश्न हो सकते हैं और लोगों के प्रश्न हो सकते हैं, उसका जवाब मैं अपनी कार्रवाई से ही दे सकता हूँ, इसलिए मैं आपको कार्रवाई बता रहा हूँ।
कार्रवाई में क्या हुआ सर? अभी तक कितने लोग अभी तक पकड़े गए? अभी जो 13 और 14 तारीख को घटनाएं हुई हैं, उसमें कितने लोग?
पिछले 48 घंटे में हम लोगों ने विशेष अभियान चलाया है और इस दौरान 126 शराब कारोबारियों को पकड़ करके हम लोगों ने 4,141 लीटर शराब बरामद किया है। और इस कांड में जो यहाँ दर्ज हुआ है, इसमें हम लोगों ने दोनों थानों को मिलाकर के 4 लोगों को गिरफ्तार कर लिया है और साथ ही साथ उससे पूछताछ की जा रही है। आगे हम लोग गिरफ्तार।
कोई जानकारी है सर कि बिहार में भी, सॉरी बलिया में और रांची में भी लोग मरे, यहाँ से पी के गए हैं?
इसकी जानकारी मुझे नहीं।
और उससे जुड़े हुए और भी पहलुओं पर जांच की जा रही है। इसका डिटेल्स आपको मीडिया के माध्यम से बाद में अलग से देंगे।
सर एक बात और है कि यहाँ पे सबसे बड़ी सवाल यही है कि सारे लोग कह रहे हैं कि एक साथ इतनी मौतें हुई हैं, इसका मतलब है कि कहीं एक ही खेप उतरी होगी जिसके कारण उसका सब जगह पे हुआ है।
नहीं, इसकी जांच की जा रही है, मैंने बताया आपको ऑलरेडी। इसकी जांच की जा रही है कि किस परिस्थिति में वो कहाँ से आया है और उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसे हुआ है, उसका क्या नेटवर्क रहा है। फॉरवर्ड बैकवर्ड लिंकेजेस के बारे में जानकारी हम लोग प्राप्त कर रहे हैं, इसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है, लेकिन बीच में उसके बारे में कुछ भी बता पाना ठीक नहीं रहेगा। जब पूरा जांच हो जाएगा उसके बाद में सारी बातें सामने आ जाएंगी।
आंकड़ों को लेकर के बड़ा आप कह रहे हैं 26
आंकड़े हैं और सरकारी आंकड़े कुछ और हैं।
नहीं, अभी तक जो हम लोग पास रिकॉर्ड्स है उसके अनुसार 26 कुल डेथ्स रिपोर्टेड है और इनका पोस्टमार्टम भी हम लोग के द्वारा अस्पताल में किया जा रहा है और इसके अलावा 10 लोग अभी इंजर्ड हैं जिनका इलाज चल रहा है।
क्या लगता है कि इसकी हकीकत सामने आ पाएगी सर? इससे पहले भी अगस्त में भी मौत हुई थी, वहाँ पे भी हकीकत सामने नहीं आ पाई, इस बार भी काफ़ी मौतें हुई।
नहीं, जो इससे पहले जो अगस्त में जो इंसिडेंट हुआ था उसका पूरा जांच हुआ है, उससे पूरा इन्वेस्टिगेशन भी हुआ है और गिरफ्तारी भी सबका हुआ था। इसका डिटेल्स अवेलेबल है।
आरोप ये लगाया जा रहा है कि सर यहाँ शराब खुलेआम बिकती है। अभी ये हॉस्पिटल में कह रहे हैं, आप अभी बोले सर मैं अभी आपको ऑनलाइन मंगा के दूंगा, होम डिलीवरी यहाँ का इतने खुलेआम सर।
सुनिए,
शराबबंदी है,
कार्रवाई जो है पुलिस के द्वारा और एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट के द्वारा हम लोग लगातार कर रहे हैं। आप हम लोगों के आंकड़े देख सकते हैं, जिला के आंकड़े गिरफ्तारी के हों, चाहे रेड्स के हों, चाहे कार्रवाई के हों, वो अपने आप में बताते हैं कि हम लोग क्या कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। इसमें लेकिन शराबबंदी के संबंध में लोगों को भी जागरूक होने की आवश्यकता है। हमारे राज्य में शराबबंदी है, गैर कानूनी कार्य है, लेकिन फिर भी लोग गैर कानूनी तरीके से, गलत तरीके से शराब का इंतजाम करते हैं और उसको फिर पीते हैं, जिसकी वजह से मृत्यु होती है। तो मेरा अनुरोध है सभी आप मीडिया के माध्यम से सभी लोगों से कि कृपया गैर कानूनी कार्य नहीं करें। इससे न सिर्फ आपकी मृत्यु होती है बल्कि पूरा समाज और पूरा परिवार बर्बाद होता है।
So an appeal coming there from the police for people not to consume spurious liquor. Now, do remember that even as this happens, questions are being asked about the liquor policy of the Bihar government. There is prohibition in Bihar. However, Nitish Kumar and his members of his Mahagathbandhan questioning the BJP over the fact that they were part of this government and they were part of this policy for many years. How can they be questioning it now? Now, even as this slugfest, of course, continues, we have been seeing Nitish Kumar losing his cool inside the assembly. That was on Monday when this tragedy unfolded. Now, the death toll, unfortunately, in this tragedy has now risen to 50. And we are still hearing that there are other people who could have been affected. We are now joined on the phone line by Chitranjan Gagan from the RJD. Good morning, Mr. Gagan. Mr. Gagan, you know, we just heard the BJP talk of the fact that the prohibition policy is something that needs to be dealt with. But how do you react to that? Do you feel that the BJP perhaps is now changing its track after it's come out of the alliance?
भाजपा पहले सरकार में थी और उस समय भी कई घटनाएं ऐसे घटी कि जहरीली शराब से कई लोगों की मृत्यु हो गई। उस समय भाजपा क्यों चुप रही, क्यों नहीं उस समय उठाई? दूसरी बात कि गुजरात में जहां पर कि भाजपा के इतने लंबे दिनों से सरकार है और काफी दिनों से 1960 से ही वहां पर शराबबंदी लागू है और अभी पिछले दिनों जुलाई में ही 57 लोगों की मौत हो गई जहरीली शराब पीने से। नवंबर में कई लोगों की मौत हो गई है। तो इसलिए जो भाजपा कहती है जहां शराबबंदी लागू नहीं है, मध्य प्रदेश में शराबबंदी लागू नहीं है
जी, वहां
पर सबसे ज्यादा, देश में सबसे ज्यादा जहरीली शराब पीने से लोगों की मौत मध्य प्रदेश में हुई है, कर्नाटक में हुई है, उत्तर प्रदेश में पिछले दिनों झांसी में बड़ी संख्या में लोगों की मौत हो गई। तो यह जो है सो केवल इसको राजनीतिक मुद्दा भाजपा बनाना चाह रही है, जबकि यह राजनीतिक मुद्दा नहीं है। यह मानवीय संवेदना से जुड़ा हुआ मामला है, एक सामाजिक सुधार का मामला है। इसमें भाजपा को सहयोग करना चाहिए। भाजपा भी शामिल रही है उस निर्णय में जिसके के तहत शराबबंदी लागू किया गया इस राज्य में। विधानमंडल के दोनों सदनों में उसका समर्थन मिला, बाद में सरकार में भी रहा तो शामिल रहा। सरकार इस पर काफी गंभीर रही और अब जो है सो यह राजनीतिक पैंतरेबाजी कर रही है केवल, और कुछ नहीं है।
लेकिन गगन जी, आप कह रहे हैं कि बाकी स्टेट्स में भी ये हुआ है, लेकिन इसका कोई समाधान होना चाहिए। देयर हैज टू बी अ वे आउट बिकॉज if this continues, people will continue to die like this to spurious liquor, whether it's in Bihar or it's in MP or it's in other states.
निश्चित रूप से, लेकिन कोई भी समाज सुधार की कोई भी मामला होता है, जो भी ऐसे अभियान चलते हैं उसमें समाज का बहुत बड़ा योगदान रहता है। सामाजिक स्तर पर इसमें जब तक जागरूकता पैदा नहीं होगी तब तक जो है सो यह पूर्ण रूप से इसकी सफलता जिस रूप में होनी चाहिए वह नहीं होगी। तो इसमें सब लोगों को सहयोग करना चाहिए, न कि इस पर राजनीति करना चाहिए। कोई राजनीतिक मुद्दा नहीं बनाकर इसे जो है सो सामाजिक मुद्दा बनाकर सब लोगों को समर्थन और सहयोग करना चाहिए। इसमें सबको अपनी भूमिका का निर्वहन करना चाहिए।
All right, Mr. Gagan, appreciate your speaking to us. That's Chitranjan Gagan from the RJD saying that politics is being played on this. Let's also bring in Anup right now. Anup, even as we see this political slugfest on in Bihar, the fact of the matter is that unfortunately already 50 lives have been lost. Now, what are the police saying in terms of the investigation that's going forward, and how are they hoping to be able to crack down on this nexus?
नुपुर, कल जब हम लोगों ने बात की थी एसपी से तो वो बहुत अच्छे तरीके से बता रहे थे कि हम कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं, लेकिन सवाल ये है कि कल रात में, सिर्फ कल रात में कार्रवाई करके 123 लोगों को अरेस्ट किया गया जो शराब के धंधे से जुड़े हुए थे। और इसके अलावा देखिए जो मशरक के थाना इंचार्ज हैं, टीआई हैं, उसके अलावा जो चौकीदार है वहां का, जो लोकल चौकीदार, उसे सस्पेंड किया गया है। जो डीएसपी है मढौरा के, उनके इंद्रजीत बैठा, उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई की अनुशंसा की गई है। एक्शन तो हो रहा है नुपुर, लेकिन ये एक्शन अगर पहले होता तो इतनी जाने नहीं जाती। आंकड़ा 50 के पार सरकारी आंकड़ा ये बता रहा है, लेकिन वहां जो लोग हैं वो कह रहे हैं कि सर ये आंकड़ा 100 के पार भी जा सकता है। बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग थे जिनका पोस्टमार्टम पुलिस ने होने नहीं दिया और ये कहा जा रहा था कि तुम लोग जो करना है यहीं कर लो, पोस्टमार्टम नहीं करने देंगे। तो बहुत सारे लोगों ने अंतिम संस्कार भी, क्रिमेशन भी वहीं कर लिया था। लेकिन वहां जो है अब भी नाराजगी है बहुत ज्यादा। एक अच्छी बात यह है कि 24 घंटे में 12 लोगों की मौत के बाद अगले पिछले 12 घंटे में एक शख्स को भर्ती कराया गया। थोड़ा आंकड़ा कम जरूर हुआ है भर्ती करने वालों का, लेकिन 30-35 से ज्यादा लोग अब भी अस्पताल में भर्ती हैं। एनएमसीएच में 3 लोगों को भर्ती किया गया था पटना के एनएमसीएच में। इनमें से 2 की आंखों की रोशनी चली गई है, जबकि एक शख्स की मौत हो गई है। हालांकि नुपुर यह भी कहा जा रहा है कि आज हो सकता है बीजेपी के जो विधायक है, जो एमएलसी हैं, वो राज्यपाल से मिलने की कोशिश करेंगे। वक्त मांगा गया है, गवर्नर से उनसे मिलकर अपनी पूरी बात रखेंगे। लेकिन अब भी यही सवाल विपक्ष उठा रहा है कि एक्शन तब लिया जाता है जब कोई घटना घट जाती है। पहले एक्शन होता तो शायद ये मौतें नहीं होती। नुपुर,
all right, do stay with us, Anup. I think we've got Mr. Yadav on the phone line with us. Mr. Yadav, good morning. Mr. Yadav, Give us a sense of what you feel is going wrong in Bihar. Now, the opposition, of course, says that the policy of prohibition needs to be looked upon. But the other part of the story also is that the BJP was also part of the decision that was taken to impose prohibition. So, how do you see this?
मॉर्निंग मैडम देखिए, ये तो घटना बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। इसका राजनीतिक मुद्दा जो बनाया जा रहा है गलत है। जो घटना हुआ है बिहार में बहुत बड़ा घटना है। इस पर सरकार को विशेष ध्यान करके आगे ऐसा घटना और ना घटे। कई बार घट चुका है, बार बार सरकार भी बोलती है ऐसा नहीं हो, उसके बाद ये घटना हो रहा। लेकिन जो लोग इसको माने जो लोग शराब बिक्री कर रहे हैं उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई होकर उनको सजा मिलना चाहिए मैडम।
Shukriya हमसे बात करने के लिए। Anup, I'm going to come back to you on this one. Anup, the other part of the story, Anup, is also the fact that there is a nexus that's there between these gangs that operates, that sells spurious liquor, and the police. And that's something that's been talked about in every time there's a tragedy like this one. What are you hearing? What action is the police likely to take against this to stop future tragedies like this one from playing out?
नूपुर, मतलब इसमें कहा नहीं जा सकता ये कि आखिर क्यों ऐसा हुआ, लेकिन एक बात तो तय है कि ये जो भी चीजें हो रही हैं, शराब, जो जहरीली शराब बन रही है, शराब की बिक्री हो रही है, पुलिस का इन्वॉल्वमेंट है इन तमाम चीजों में। और ये वहां के जो लोग हैं जिनसे हम बातचीत कर रहे थे, बाकायदा आप समझिए कि हॉस्पिटल में एक आदमी पीड़ित है, जहरीली शराब पी के पड़ा हुआ है। वो रिपब्लिक भारत से कहता है कि सर आप मुझे कहें, मैं हॉस्पिटल में ऑनलाइन फोन करके शराब यहां मंगा लूंगा। अब जरा इस बात को समझिए कि वो आदमी पीड़ित है और ये भी कह रहा है कि मैं तो पीऊंगा सर, मैं सुबह मेहनत करता हूं और शाम में मैं पीऊंगा। और पुलिस ये कह रही कि उनको जानकारी नहीं थी। ये नेक्सस बड़ा है और एक स्पिरिट की भी बात सामने आ रही कि पुलिस के मार्फत ही तमाम लोगों को संरक्षण मिलता है और इसी संरक्षण का ये फायदा उठाते हैं। कल के बाद जो एक्शन हुआ है उसके बाद ऐसा एक्शन हमेशा होना चाहिए। और अब ये भी कहा जा रहा है कि अब शराब बंदी को लेकर समीक्षा होनी चाहिए, ये भी कहा जा रहा है, लेकिन एक्शन पहले होना चाहिए था। नूपुर
जी, Anup, thank you very much for joining us. Anup is, of course, continuing to bring us updates on this spurious liquor tragedy that has played out in Bihar. Thank you for the moment, Anup.
कुछ पैसे बोरो करने थे।
हेलो,
लोन चाहिए तो पैसाबाजार.com पर जाइए। पैसाबाजार.com, लोन सही मिलेगा यहीं।
India's biggest fashion sale is back. Biggest deals on sneakers, yes. Should have splurged a little less. EORS.
Fashion's biggest deals, yes.
Fashion's biggest sale is now live. इससे बड़ा सेल नहीं मिलेगा।
Myntra end of reason sale. Shop now.
Everyone looks at the world today. At Hyundai, we go beyond with experiences that take us forward. Inspired by our today, we design your tomorrow. Some said electric is the future. We said, why stop there? At Hyundai, we are going beyond mobility, and you are welcome to join us.
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amrit Kaal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
Helps beat sensitivity fast. Sensodyne Rapid Relief.
अगर मिठाई जंक फूड से है यारी, तो डायबिटीज की कर लो तैयारी।
Get Beto's Diabetes Care Program with a free glucometer and expert advice. Give a missed call on 740 1100.
जाग उठा एक राष्ट्र करने हर चुनौती का सामना। मातृभूमि विनाश के कगार पर खड़ी है। ये घड़ी है करो या मरो की। एक अध्याय एक संग्राम और उसके नायक ब्रह्मपुत्र के शूरवीर लासित बोरफुकन।
All right. This year, of course, marks the 51st anniversary of India's victory over Pakistan in the 1971 war. which saw the creation of a new country, Bangladesh, formerly, of course, known as East Pakistan. Pictures on your screen are coming to you from Jammu, where the army commander over there paying his respects to all those who sacrificed their life in the 1971 war. India, of course, declared victory on the 16th of December in 1971 after the Pakistani armed forces surrendered. Since then, this day is commemorated as Vijay Diwas to remember the bravery and sacrifice of the Indian Defence Services. Tributes like this one are organized across the country. Even yesterday, of course, the President had greeted the country on the occasion of Vijay Diwas. And this morning also, we've seen several of these tributes being paid to our brave hearts across the length and breadth of our country. There was a commemoration earlier this morning in national capital of Delhi as well. Now, the idol wing of the CID of the Tamil Nadu police has successfully stopped the scheduled auctioning of a bronze idol of Nataraja by Christie's. Now, the rare variety of the bronze idol was suspected to have been stolen from Kayathar in Thoothukudi district half a century ago. The officers of the special wing came across an auction notice issued by Christie's.com France listing a bronze Shiva Nataraja idol for auction on Friday at a bid price of over 2 million euros to 3 million euros. That's nearly 1.76 crore rupees to 2.64 crore rupees. Now, the bronze idol belongs to the Vijayanagara period. That's the 15th, 16th century. Vahini is reporting live on this. Vahini, so a considerable success over there coming in for the CID of the Tamil Nadu police being able to stop this auction.
Well, definitely, yes, this is definitely a feather in the cap for the Tamil Nadu police, particularly the idol wing CID team, which has been constantly focusing on retrieving the lost idols from the different temples of the state. And particularly if you see this particular idol, Nataraja idol that has been stolen from a temple in Thoothukudi district was set up for auction today. If at all the Tamil Nadu police were not able to find out this, it would have been sold today. But fortunately yesterday, with the help of the Indian ambassador in France, they had stopped the auction, and the Christie's has also replied positively, stating that they've accepted the documents and the proofs that has been submitted from the idol wing CID to the Christie's, so that they have figured it out that it was a stolen idol and not a sold idol. And considering the fact that the Christie's is a very big auction house, a very famous one, which follows proper legalities, this is also now going to be very big process for the idol wing CID to get the idol back to India. And we also hear from different sources that the FIR in this case, because since it was stolen 50 years ago, the FIR in this case has not yet been able to be found out by the idol wing CID. Therefore, it might take a little time for the idol wing CID to come put together all the pieces and to be able to produce whatever documents that are required to successfully bring back the idol to India and restore it in the temple that it belongs to.
Now, we are given to understand that, the last image of this idol was taken in 1958. However, several people, who are associated with the area where this idol was actually taken from were able to identify this particular idol that was also on the Christie's website.
Well, yes, Nupur, this idol was basically, found out only after the idol wing CID found a picture of this idol in the French Institute in Pondicherry, where the pictures of many such idols from Tamil Nadu, many ancient idols, pictures have been taken and have been stored. Therefore, the French Institute in Pondicherry is one of the key places where these kind of informations are kept. And in many such cases, previously in the past as well, the French Institute in Pondicherry has played a very pivotal role to identify these idols, which are currently in the possession of different countries. Therefore, even in this case, the Idle Wing CID has found the picture from the French Institute only, and only with that proof they were able to stop this auction successfully. Now with additional proofs of to date back exactly when this idol was stolen. Now we know that it was stolen 50 years ago, but to find out the exact details on this case and to successfully bring it back to India, it's definitely going to take a lot, and the Idle Wing CID has to tell us how they are going to make sure that it is implemented in the proper way that the idol can be restored.
All right, Vahini reporting on that from Chennai. Thank you very much for joining us. So as Vahini is pointing out, a lot still to be done to bring this idol back home to India now.
Pakistani intelligence agency ISI. In this module, the school-going children were used as a pawn by the Pakistani side, and they were supplying the narcotics to the school-going girl who has been detained by the Jammu and Kashmir police. Important to mention that the Pakistan is in a bid to destabilize Jammu and Kashmir, and for that now they are resorting to the narcotics to lure the youth of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the border areas, and then totally destruct the future generation. The Pakistani ISI handler Ashik was himself coming from Pakistan to the village ahead of the line of control to supply the consignment of narcotics to this girl who has been arrested by the Jammu and Kashmir police. And the major plot of the Pakistan was to put the youth of Jammu and Kashmir, the children of the border areas, into drugs so that they can totally destroy the future generation. With Vijay Parvez, Gursimran for Republic Media Network.
You are watching Republic TV, and on the other side, it's the lowest of lows for China as it targets patience-aimed cyber attack leads to heavy backlog. And the Bihar Hooch tragedy, death toll rises to 50, but the chief minister mocks the victims.
भैया जी हमला। भैया जी 10 गोलियां ले ले।
गोलियां नहीं रज्जा, गोली।
पर बाहर तो 10 लोग हैं।
10 हो या पूरी बस, अब तो बस 1 है तो डन है। इसको कोई वॉच कराओ। जब वॉचो मिले ढेर सारे ओटीटी ऐप्स एक ही प्लान में, तो हर कोई बोलेगा वॉचो 1 है तो डन है।
वॉचो प्लान स्टार्टिंग एट जस्ट 42 रुपीज पर मंथ। आज ही सब्सक्राइब करें और पाएं सिलेक्ट प्लान्स पर 1 महीना कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री।
क्या हुआ चैंपियन?
दिन रात प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ती है, यहाँ तो रात को स्टेडियम ही बंद हो जाता है।
एक काम करो ना, चेन छोड़ के लगाना।
पापा
अब करो दिन रात प्रैक्टिस। चैंपियन।
एक्स्ट्रा सेफ पॉलीकैप ग्रीन वायर, आपके सपनों को रखे सेफ।
या तो पास्ट को पकड़ के बैठे रहो या फ्यूचर देखो।
गुड लक।
लक वो तो खुद बनानी पड़ती है।
इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट कर, ग्रोथ का है चांस।
डेट में है लो रिस्क, बात मेरी मान।
गोल्ड सिर्फ गोल्ड, भैया ने भी यही किया।
सुन सबकी कर मल्टी, मतलब मल्टी एसेट एलोकेशन फंड्स, यानी 3-in-1 फंड। ये इक्विटी, डेट, गोल्ड तीनों में एक साथ इन्वेस्ट करें। म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेज ध्यान पूर्वक पढ़ें।
मूवी स्टार्ट करें?
पहले पॉपकॉर्न तो लाओ।
संडे को मिलेगा ना?
पाजी स्नैक्स और पॉपकॉर्न खरीदने के लिए संडे सेल को भूल जाइए। बिग बास्केट है, हर दिन सस्ता। बिग सेविंग्स, बिग बास्केट।
सबटाइटल्स नहीं है?
संडे दो रुको तुंदी
की?
Navy gives me strength.
The Navy gives me support.
The Navy gives me success.
The Navy gives you more. Indian Navy, an ocean of opportunities.
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
क्या हुआ रोहन, क्या सोच रहा है?
रिया पहली सैलरी मिली है, तुम भी कुछ आइडिया दो।
एक्सपेंसेस को कैसे प्लान किया जाए?
रोहन, एक्सपेंसेस के साथ साथ इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान करना भी ज़रूरी है।
देखो, सैलरी का कुछ हिस्सा घर के रेगुलर खर्चे के लिए और कुछ मैं अपने लिए भी तो सोच सकता हूँ ना, लेकिन इन्वेस्ट कहाँ करूँ?
सिंपल है, एनपीएस में।
एनपीएस में? भैया अभी तो मैंने कमाना शुरू किया है, इतना आगे के लिए अभी से क्यों पैसे जोड़ूं?
वो देखो, एक एक करके ईंट जोड़ी जाती है, तब जाके एक घर तैयार होता है। वैसे ही अभी से पैसे जोड़कर हम भी अपना रिटायरमेंट सुखी बना सकते हैं।
बात में तो दम है।
एनपीएस कम लागत वाली फ्लेक्सिबल लॉन्ग टर्म योजना है, जिससे आपकी बचत ग्रो होकर पेंशन का लाभ देती है।
अच्छा, फिर तो मैं अभी अपना एनपीएस अकाउंट ओपन करता हूँ।
जो कल की सोचते हैं वो आज से ही थोड़ा-थोड़ा जोड़ते हैं।
पेंशन है तो टेंशन नहीं। एनपीएस में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है।
मेरी नजरों से चुना, तेरी हरकतों से सुना, कभी जीती तू, कभी मैं हारा, फिर भी खूबसूरत है ये नजारा, क्योंकि इसमें है खुला
कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा।
अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा।
Advancing data center performance and energy efficiency to solve your most important business challenges. AMD. Together, we advance.
A major fire has broken out in Dehradun. This is in the records room of the Uttarakhand University. Firefighters and the Premnagar police reached the spot as soon as the fire was reported. We are told that the fire may have been controlled right now after hours of firefighting operations. The fire in the records room has also been contained, is what we are given to understand. But this fire incident was reported from Uttarakhand University, specifically from the records room. Also, what we are given to understand is that the fire brigade, of course, did rush its firefighters over there, and finally the blaze has been controlled. So pictures on your screen are of this fire that has been reported in Dehradun. This is the Uttarakhand University where this fire has been reported from. We're not getting any information in terms of whether anybody was injured in this fire or not, but obviously the records room at any university is extremely critical. So we are told that, the fire that was actually in the records room has now been contained. Here's a look at what else is making news. This morning, Ukrainian soldiers continue to operate in the Bakhmut region, one of the most brutal battles currently ongoing in Ukraine. The latest fighting of Russia's war in Ukraine has centered on 4 provinces, including Bakhmut and Donbas. Harvard University has announced that Claudine Gay will become its 30th president, making her the first person of color and the second woman to lead the Ivy League school. Claudine, who is currently a dean at the university and a democracy scholar, will become the president on the 1st of July. Violent protests disrupting tourism and trade across Peru persisted as a judge considered whether to keep the country's ex-president in custody while authorities build their case against him for inciting a rebellion. EU's President Ursula von der Leyen and the EU Council President Charles Michel has said that an extra 18 billion euros had been allocated to support Ukraine in 2023. The European Union says it has approved a new package of sanctions aimed at ramping up pressure against Russia for its war in Ukraine.
The European Union has, as you know, supported Ukraine financially this year with 19.7 billion euros. And thanks again to the Czech presidency, our proposal on an additional 18 billion euros for 20.
F-35B fighter jet made a hard landing at Fort Worth Air Base. The abnormal situation occurred when performing a vertical landing. However, the pilot managed to eject safely. Pakistani authorities have said that one person was killed and 11 wounded when Afghan Taliban forces fired mortars towards civilians near the southwest Chaman border crossing. This reflects the increasing tensions between the two neighboring nations. US President Joe Biden has departed Washington en route to Wilmington, Delaware. The president will hold a town hall meeting to discuss health care for veterans exposed to toxic substances. 2 people are dead and more than 50 went missing after a landslide struck a campsite on the outskirts of the capital Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Search operations are underway for survivors. You are with Republic TV. Still to come, Tamil Nadu police top auction of the stolen Nataraja bronze idol in France attempts on to bring it back. And it is the lowest of lows even for China as it targets patients. The AIM cyber attack leads to heavy backlog.
India's biggest fashion sale is back. Rock that print, binge that dress, show you my fashion flex. EORS.
Fashion's biggest sale. Yeah.
Fashion's biggest sale is now live.
इससे बड़ा sale नहीं मिलेगा.
Myntra end of reason sale. Shop now.
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amrit Kaal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
Whenever I had ice cream or cold water, I would experience a sharp shooting sensation. So I just kept ignoring it. Even my hot chai was giving me the same amount of discomfort. My dentist recommended Sensodyne. So now I can be completely carefree and sip my hot cup of tea. It really works.
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
गरिमा जरा रोटी पास करना.
रोटी तो फ्राइडे को ही मिलेगी. गरिमा जी आटा खरीदने के लिए फ्राइडे सेल को भूल जाइए. बिग बास्केट है हर दिन सस्ता. बिग सेविंग्स, बिग बास्केट.
चावल
टाइम पे खा लेना. और कल सुबह अपॉइंटमेंट है, भूलना मत.
अरे 2 दिन के लिए तो जा रहे हो.
हाँ लेकिन ख्याल तो पूरी जिंदगी रखूंगा ना.
HDFC लाइफ एन्युटी प्लान्स के जॉइंट लाइफ फीचर के साथ रखिए अपनों का ख्याल हमेशा. HDFC लाइफ, सर उठा के जियो.
Volkswagen Tiguan, India's safest SUVW. Volkswagen.
Your favorite service provider, 10, which gets you the best of entertainment, is back with something very special.
अभी मजा आएगा ना भिड़ो.
Your 3 favorite movie channels are bringing in super blockbuster films with features like wider picture and crystal clear sound straight to your home.
Wow. Oh, I love that expression.
To subscribe to your favorite channels, contact your local cable TV operator today or call 10 toll-free number 1-800-419-2020 now.
अगर तू हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस नहीं लेगा तो हॉस्पिटल का लंबा बिल तू अपनी जेब से भरेगा। 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू। पॉलिसी बाजार।
भैया जी हमला। भैया जी 10 गोलियां ले ले।
गोलियां नहीं रज्जा, गोली।
पर बाहर तो 10 लोग हैं।
10 हो या पूरी बस, अब तो बस 1 है तो डन है। इसको कोई वॉच कराओ। जब वॉचो मिले ढेर सारे OTT एप्स एक ही प्लान में तो हर कोई बोलेगा वॉचो 1 है तो डन है।
वॉचो प्लान स्टार्टिंग एट जस्ट 42 रुपीज पर मंथ। आज ही सब्सक्राइब करें और पाएं सिलेक्ट प्लान्स पर 1 महीना कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री।
Hey Rahul, what's up?
Hey, kicked about our first date?
Of course.
Benefits up to rupees 30,000 only at the Citroën C3 Carnival. Book today.
कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा।
इसलिए ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, सपने आपके, लैमिनेट्स हमारा। अमेजिंग स्पेसेस के लिए कुछ मेरा, कुछ तुम्हारा।
झांके रे झांके झरोके से झांके, देख के दंग है छोटे बड़े सारे। झांके रे झांके फ्यूचर को ये ताके, तरक्की को टुक टुक हर कोई ताके। झांके रे झांके।
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
उठो, जागो, दौड़ो तुम। डायबिटीज को रोको तुम।
Get Beto's Diabetes Care Program with a free glucometer and expert advice. Give a missed call on 740 1100.
या तो पास्ट को पकड़ के बैठे रहो या फ्यूचर देखो।
गुड लक।
लक वो तो खुद बनानी पड़ती है।
It's party time with the RGO Big Bold Sale. 50 to 90% off on the world's biggest fashion brands. Download the app and shop now.
यूपी ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर समिट 2023 के जरिए उत्तर प्रदेश वैश्विक निवेश के एक बड़े केंद्र के रूप में उभर रहा है। आर्थिक विकास एवं समृद्धि की नई ऊंचाइयां प्राप्त कर रहा उत्तर प्रदेश इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, IT, रक्षा सहित अन्य क्षेत्रों के लिए निवेश का उत्कृष्ट गंतव्य स्थान बनकर उभर रहा है।
भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था को $5 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनाने के लिए उत्तर प्रदेश जैसे राज्य को ग्रोथ इंजन के रूप में अपनी भूमिका का निर्वहन करना है।
भाई सोच रहा हूँ कमेंट्री ट्राई करूं। सुनोगे? मैच का आखिरी बॉल, कैप्टन ने टाइट फील्ड सेटिंग करी है। बॉलर का रनअप, तेज तूफानी डिलीवरी, पर ऑफ साइड की ओर एक धमाकेदार शॉट और ये गया छक्का।
छक्का नहीं, टूटा। आपके टाइल्स को चाहिए MYK लेटिक्रीट टाइल एडेसिव। फॉर्मूला ऐसा कि अब टाइल न टूटेगा न छूटेगा।
Thanks for tuning in this Friday morning. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. With the next half an hour, we'll get you all the top stories, starting first with the headlines. Mega Vijay Diwas celebrations lined up as India commemorates victory over Pakistan during the 1971 war. External Affairs Minister shows Pakistan the mirror in the most classic manner as Jaishankar gives it back to the Pak journalist. Tamil Nadu police stop auction of stolen Nataraja bronze idol in France attempts on to bring back the idol. Lowest of the lows for China as it targets patients aimed cyber attack leads to heavy backlog. Bihar huge tragedy, death toll rises to 50 but Chief Minister Nitish Kumar mocks victims.
And straight up starting with breaking news coming in from Maharashtra, where Vijay Walkar, Shraddha's father and family members have arrived at Commissioner's office in Maharashtra. We'll go across to Sandeep as well, who's getting us all those live updates. But Shraddha's father, who's arrived at the Commissioner's office in Maharashtra. Remember, the latest update also that came in yesterday in relation to the DNA test which happened in this case, where the Delhi police made a major breakthrough in the case, as the DNA extracted from some of the bones that have been recovered from the Mehroli forest has matched the DNA of Shraddha's father. In fact, Anamika Republic's reporter spoke to Shraddha's father as to what has really transpired in the case so far. Listen into that exclusive conversation.
सर पुलिस के आपको पुलिस ने बताया डीएनए सैंपल मैच हो गया, या फिर आपने न्यूज़ में देखा फिर आपको ये जानकारी मिली?
या मैंने तो न्यूज़ में ही देखा तब मुझे जानकारी मिली, पुलिस ने नहीं बताया अभी तक।
आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है सर यहाँ अभी, क्योंकि बहुत समय से आप ये लंबी लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं, अभी तक कुछ क्लियर नहीं था कि वो हड्डियां जो है वो जंगलों में मिल रही हैं, वो श्रद्धा की है, आप एक कहानी पे कहानी सुनाया जा रहा था, पुलिस को गुमराह कर रहा था, बट आखिरकार एक डीएनए मैच होना इस मर्डर केस में बहुत मदद करता है। इसको आप किस तरीके से देखते हैं सर?
जी हाँ, अब तक तो मुझे ऐसे ही लग रहा था कि ये शायद कहीं होगी, या पता नहीं ये ऐसे कैसे बता रहा है, तो मुझे अब तक ऐसे ही लग रहा था कि शायद कुछ ये मैच नहीं करेगा।
आपको उम्मीद थी कि श्रद्धा जिंदा है, लेकिन आज
जी आज तो ये कंफर्म हो गया कि अभी श्रद्धा इस दुनिया में नहीं है। तो मुझे अभी तो वैसे बताने में भी दुख हो रहा है, लेकिन जो होना है वो हो गया। लेकिन अब ये केस के लिए बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रांग एविडेंस मिल गया है, तो उसकी वजह से तो अभी उसका मतलब छूटना मुश्किल है।
ऐसे घिनौने गुनाह की क्या सजा हो सकती है सर? क्या फांसी काफी है ऐसे इंसान को? क्योंकि बहुत हिम्मत बढ़ जाती है लोगों की जब वो ऐसे काम करते हैं और कुछ छोटी मोटी सजा से छूट जाते हैं। क्या मांग करते हैं आप?
मुझे तो ये तो फांसी भी कम लग रही है। मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये जैसे श्रद्धा का इसने जो टुकड़े टुकड़े किए वैसे ही उसके टुकड़े करनी चाहिए, और उसके फैमिली को भी ये कुछ मिलना नहीं चाहिए, उसके टुकड़े भी ऐसी कुछ सजा होनी चाहिए उसको।
सर क्या आप इसमें इस मामले को फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट में ले जाने की मांग करेंगे, ताकि जल्द से जल्द न्याय हो सके, इस मामले को लटकाया ना जाए आगे?
जी हाँ, मैंने तो गवर्नर साहब से भी बात की है, तो उन्होंने भी मुझे बताया है कि इसको फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट में जाने की कोशिश करेंगे।
Remember, the Delhi police has made a major breakthrough in the case, as the DNA has matched that of Shraddha's father when we talk about those bones that were recovered from the forests of Delhi. We'll go across to Sandeep as well, who's getting us the latest update, as Shraddha's father has arrived at the Maharashtra police, at the police station in Maharashtra. Remember, in the press conference that was held just a few days back, in which Shraddha's father had made it clear that how the incident could have been avoided had proper action been taken by the Maharashtra police. Moving on then, during an interaction at the United Nations headquarters in New York, the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar shot down a Pakistan reporter's question on terrorism when asked about how long will South Asia see terrorism from New Delhi, Kabul, Pakistan, and how long will they be at war. Jaishankar hit out, saying that you're asking the wrong minister, and that it is the minister of Pakistan who should be answering this question, as Pakistan has been shielding terrorists and has been backing terrorism for a long time now.
You're asking the wrong minister when you say how long will we do this, because it is the ministers of Pakistan who will tell you how long Pakistan intends to practice terrorism. So look, at the end of the day, the world is not stupid, the world is not forgetful, and the world does, increasingly call out countries and organizations and people who indulge in terrorism. And by taking that debate elsewhere, you're not going to hide it. You're not going to confuse anybody anymore. People have figured it out. So my advice is, please clean up your act. Please try to be a good neighbor. Please try and contribute to what the rest of the world is trying to do today, which is economic growth, progress, development.
And this was not all. Launching a scathing attack, Jaishankar said that the world is not stupid. It increasingly calls out countries and organizations indulging in terrorism. My advice is to clean up your act and try to be a good neighbor. So that was a scathing attack that was launched by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar at Pakistan.
I read the reports on what Minister Hina Rabani Khar said. And, I was reminded more than a decade ago, if my memory serves me right, Hillary Clinton was visiting Pakistan, Islamabad. And Hina Rabani Khar was a minister at that time. And I think standing next to her, Hillary Clinton actually said that if you have, I'm giving you the sense, it's not an exact quote, that if you have snakes in your backyard, you can't expect them to bite only your neighbors. Eventually, they will bite the people who keep them in the backyard. But as you know, Pakistan is not great on taking good advice, and you see what's happening there. In terms of what they are saying, look, the truth is everybody, the world today sees them as the epicenter of terrorism.
So, as you just heard, Dr. S. Jaishankar hitting out at Pakistan for shielding terrorism, going on to say that Pakistan, in fact, is the epicenter of terrorism. And getting in more news break, the first response coming in from the Eastern Command on the Tawang clash, where he has said, and I quote, in one of the areas with differing perception of LAC, PLA troops transgressed, was contested very firmly, which led to some physical violence, but was contained. Border areas along northern frontier stable. We are firmly in control. So the first response coming in from the Eastern Command, Lieutenant General R.P. Kalita, who has said that in one of the areas with differing perception of LAC, PLA troops transgressed, was contested very firmly, which led to some physical violence, but was contained. Border areas along the northern frontier is stable. So the Eastern Command there issuing a statement on the Tawang clash, saying that how there was an attempt by the Chinese PLA to change the status quo, and how the Indian Jawans thwarted this attempt as the Chinese PLA tried to transgress and try to change that status quo. In fact, let's listen into that soundbite coming in from the Eastern Command.
You all are aware that all across the northern borders, there are differing perception of the lines of actual control. And there are 8 recognized disputed areas where the lines of the differing perceptions are acknowledged by both sides. So in one of those areas where there is a differing perception of the LAC, the PLA patrol had transgressed and which was contested very firmly and resolutely by our forces on ground, which led to some amount of physical violence. But I'm happy to say that it was contained at the local level, and resorting to the existing bilateral mechanisms and protocols which are in place, though some minor injuries were there to people, soldiers of both sides. I would also like to request you not to listen to any rumors. There have been no major injuries. It's only minor injuries to soldiers from both sides. But the local commanders were able to resolve the issue by carrying out negotiations and resorting to the existing protocols. And that was followed by a flag meeting at the delegation level at Bumla, wherein the issue has been resolved further. Presently, I would like to assure everybody that the border areas along the northern frontier is stable and we are firmly in control. You all are aware that all across the northern borders there are differing perception of the lines of actual control. And there are 8 recognized disputed areas where the lines of the differing perceptions are acknowledged by both sides. So in one of those areas where there is a differing perception of the LAC, the PLA patrol had transgressed and which was contested very firmly and resolutely by our forces on ground, which led to some amount of physical violence. But I am happy to say that it was contained at the local level, and resorting to the existing bilateral mechanisms and protocols which are in place, though some minor injuries were there to people, soldiers of both sides. I would also like to request you not to listen to any rumors. There have been no major injuries. It's only minor injuries to soldiers from both sides. But the local commanders were able to resolve the issue by carrying out negotiations and resorting to the existing protocols. And that was followed by a flag meeting at the delegation level at Bumla, wherein the issue has been resolved further. Presently, I would like to assure everybody that the border areas along the northern frontier is stable and we are firmly in control.
All right, so that was a statement by the Eastern Command. In fact, we have a reaction coming in from CDS Anil Chauhan, who said that a statement has already been made by Raksha Mantri on the Tawang clash and that there's nothing more that needs to be said on this whole matter. Listen into that statement coming in from CDS Anil Chauhan.
सीडीएस आप किस तरीके से देखते हो क्योंकि चीन का एग्रेशन लगातार बढ़ रहा है, इसके बारे में रक्षा मंत्री ने जो है पार्लियामेंट में स्टेटमेंट दिया है, मुझे उसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं कहना।
सेना कैपेबल है इस तरह की सिचुएशन को हैंडल करने के लिए? सर
मैंने आपको जवाब दे दिया। थैंक यू। सीडीएस आप किस तरीके से देखते हो क्योंकि चीन का एग्रेशन लगातार बढ़ रहा है, इसके बारे में रक्षा मंत्री ने जो है पार्लियामेंट में स्टेटमेंट दिया है, मुझे उसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं कहना।
So, as you heard, that was CDS Anil Chauhan, and just a short while back, we also got that response from the Eastern Command. We have Major Gaurav Arya also joining us. Major Gaurav Arya, how do you read into this? Because the question here arising that what more clarity does opposition want when we talk about the Tawang clash, with the Defence Minister also making it clear that our forces gave it back and thwarted that transgression attempt that was made by the Chinese PLA?
See, first of all, they said that the Chinese have come inside. Then the proof was given that no, they were thrashed and they were sent away. Then they said that this happened on the night. Why did you tell us? Why did you tell us on the 12th? You should have told us on the night itself. You see, we seem to think that these guys want clarity. They don't want clarity. They want political advantage. What more clarity can you give when General Kalita comes on the screen and he says that, you know, this has happened and this has happened, right? This whole area, 4 Corps is under General Kalita only. I mean, 4 Corps and others which are there, they are under General Kalita because he is the GOC in the Eastern Command. Once he has made it plain that this is what is happening, then where is the scope of a doubt? I don't know, which means that they are not looking for clarity from the Indian Army or from the government. They are looking at political advantage, but unfortunately even that they are not able to take.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for speaking to us. So, Major Gaurav Arya also saying that there's a political advantage that the opposition is trying to get out of that Tawang clash, questioning our forces time and again. And in fact, Congress MP also there issuing adjournment motion time and again and saying that how, in fact, questioning the military deployment on the border areas. Whereas we have the Eastern Command as well as the CDS making it clear that there was a transgression attempt, but the Indian forces thwarted that transgression attempt that was made by the Chinese PLA. A quick roundup of all that's making news from across the country. The Delhi police has continues with its investigation into the acid attack on the 17-year-old in the national capital. In fact, the Delhi police has revealed that the acid was procured online. A notice has also been sent to provide information regarding the seller and the particular transaction that had taken place. They have also been asked to explain whether regulations were compiled in relation to the sale of the acid. More probe relating to the source of the acid is yet to be continued. Officials claim that gangster Harry Chota has reached Pakistan. The gangster is seen as a replacement of Rinda as ISI in training him. The gangster was initially camping in a European country, but after the death of Rinda, the gangster Harry Chota was taken back to Pakistan by Khalistani terrorists. He's also the mastermind of the Nabha jailbreak case. DCW Chief Swati Maliwal has written to the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Rajya Sabha Chairman urging them to suspend today's parliamentary business to discuss women's safety issue on the 10th anniversary of Nirbhaya gang rape case. The death toll in Bihar's Chapra due to the consumption of spurious liquor has now risen to 50. In wake of Hooch tragedy in the district, the State House officer Ritesh Mishra and Constable versus Constable Vikesh Tiwari have been suspended with immediate effect on the recommendation of the senior officer. The idol wing of Tamil Nadu police successfully stopped the scheduled auctioning of a bronze idol of Nataraja by the Christies. The rare variety of bronze idol was suspected to have been stolen from Kayathar in Tuticorin district half a century ago. Meanwhile, Nepal and India are all set to conduct the 16th edition of Surya Kiran, which is the joint military training exercise between the two South Asian countries. According to the Ministry of Defence, the 16th edition of the Indo-Nepal joint training exercise will be conducted at the Nepal Army Battle School in Nepal starting today till 29th of December. India has declared its candidature for non-permanent membership of UN Security Council for the term 2028-2029. India had assumed the monthly rotating presidency of the Security Council on 1st of December. It is the second time that India is presiding over the council during its 2-year tenure as elected UNSC member. A 50-year-old woman was allegedly hacked to death in broad daylight by her live-in partner. According to police officials, the woman suffered critical injuries and was rushed to the government hospital by police, but her life could not be saved. Narco-terror module by Pakistan was busted in Poonch district of Jammu. It was being operated by a class 10 student. Police has recovered 400 grams of heroin and another consignment too. That has aim of this module was to supply narcotics to school-going children of the area. A woman died while 3 other people were buried under a house that collapsed due to an alleged cylinder blast in Varanasi. Further investigation has been initiated. A short break coming up. On the other side, it's the lowest of the lows for China as it targets patients, aims cyber attack, leads to heavy backlog. Bihar Hooch tragedy, death toll rises to 50, but Chief Minister Nitish Kumar mocks victims.